Ghana, which is concluded, Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived at the Piarco International Airport, port of Spain, Trinidad Tobago, where he was received by their Prime Minister and her entire cabinet of 38 ministers and 4 members of parliament. This is the first official visit to the Caribbean nation, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi has notably been the first bilateral visit of an Indian Prime Minister since 1999. Now, a grand welcome, according to Indian traditions, was given to Prime Minister Narendra Modi as he arrived at the port of Spain. This is right after his successful visit to Ghana that concluded, where he addressed the Parliament of Ghana there, and a similar address that is now being held by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, where he was greeted with a Bhojpuri Chautal performance upon his arrival at Trinidad and Tobago, and this has now marked his first official visit to the Caribbean nation. As far as his official visit is now concerned, he's been meeting members of the Indian community and has been praising their contributions to the country's development, as the Prime Minister himself on a post said that this is a cultural connect like no other, and he was very happy to have witnessed a Bhojpuri Chautal performance at the port of Spain, and the connect between Trinidad and Tobago and India, especially parts of eastern UP and Bihar, is noteworthy, as many of the people from India who have made their way to Trinidad and Tobago years ago, and they have distinguished themselves in several fields and are enriching Trinidad and Tobago's development journey. At the same time, Trinjoy, they have retained connection with India and are also passionate with Indian culture.
Undoubtedly, the fact that Trinidad and Tobago has not been visited by an Indian Prime Minister is actually surprising, because apart from everything else, people-to-people relations is really the most important here, because there are thousands and thousands of people, and perhaps a significant percentage of the population of TNT who are of Indian origin, and their ancestors got to Trinidad and Tobago possibly about 150 years ago. Now, that's a long time. Now, they have, as you rightly said, distinguished themselves. Many of them have brought fame to their country playing cricket, and against India too. So, as a result, it must be remembered that Trinidad and Tobago has very strong people-to-people relations with India. It has some trade links, but the fact that so many Indians or people of Indian origin live there is a great magnet for India, because here are people who have very strong memories of the culture they left behind. They've carried it back with them. So you have Trinidad is really in many ways a little India, and it is only appropriate for Prime Minister to get to Trinidad at a time like this.
Absolutely. And if you notice the attire as well, the Prime Minister, they're coming out to welcome along with the cabinet, all of them dressed in traditional Indian attire, similar something that was witnessed in the Parliament of Ghana as well, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the session. But now looking at the cultural connect as well, addressing the Indian community, Prime Minister Modi has said that the world's largest spiritual gathering, Mahakumbh, that took place, and he also had the honor to carry the holy waters of Mahakumbh with him. And he has requested the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago to offer the holy waters of Sangam and Saryu and to the Ganga Dhara there, and the Indian Diaspora, which is our pride, which is what the Prime Minister is saying, that each one of you is an ambassador of India's values and heritage, as he addressed the Indian community. Well, as far as Prime Minister Narendra Modi is concerned, there is a Ramcharitmanas connect as well, where he has also been talking about welcoming of the return of Ram Lalla to Ayodhya. And he says that he sent the holy water and the Shila for building Ram Mandir in Ayodhya, and he's brought there something for the Indian diaspora which is extremely special, carrying the Sangam waters during the Mahakumbh along with him. And you can see, as far as when it comes to the leadership of Trinidad and Tobago is concerned, all dressed in Indian attire, and there has been a grand welcome for Prime Minister Narendra Modi that has been accorded by them. Let's listen into the Prime Minister.
I'm sure Everyone among you feels proud when India grows. For New India, even the sky is not the limit. You all have must cheered when India's Chandrayaan landed on the moon. The place where it landed, we have named it Shiv Shakti Point. You must have also heard the news recently. An Indian astronaut is on board the International Space Station even as we speak. We are now working on a manned space mission Gaganyaan. The time is not far when an Indian will walk on the moon and India will have its own space station. हम अब तारों को सिर्फ गिनते नहीं हैं, आदित्य मिशन के रूप में उनके पास तक जाने का प्रयास करते हैं। हमारे लिए अब चंदा मामा दूर के नहीं है। हम अपनी मेहनत से असंभव को भी संभव बना रहे हैं। India's achievements in space are not just ours. We are sharing its fruits with the rest of the world.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, they're speaking about as far as the India space program is concerned. Of course, he's had a recent conversation with astronaut Subhanshu Shukla as well. India's Gaganyaan mission that he's been talking about and saying that all of the victory, all of when it comes to the praises, that only not came in from the citizens from the country India as well, but when it comes to the communities that share India's pride. And this is where he's been addressing the community program at Trinidad and Tobago with the Prime Minister there. Of course, there has been cultural performances as well that were put up for the Prime Minister upon his arrival. And the grand welcome that the Prime Minister received at Trinidad and Tobago is something that he also spoke about it.
Ancestors took a long and difficult journey over 100 days. Over 100 days across the seas to reach here, Saat Samandar Par. Today, that same journey takes just a few hours. I encourage you all to visit India more in person, not just virtually on social media. Visit the villages of your ancestors. Walk the soil they walked on. Bring your children. Bring your neighbors. Bring anyone who enjoys chai and a good story. We will welcome you all with open arms, warm hearts, and jalebi. With these words, I thank you all once again for the love and affection you have shown to me. I especially thank to Prime Minister Kamalaji for honoring me with your highest national award.
Well, of course, there is the Chai Jalebi Connect that India has, and of course that the Prime Minister